Now, don't you wish you knew some of the little nuances about living in a new state, a new city, or even a new neighborhood? There's a neighbor that wakes up at 6:30 in the morning and mows his lawn. Like, that would have been nice to know before moving into that particular neighborhood. Or it could be the fact that there's a city tax that nobody told me about. And why am I paying this? And what is it for? And how do I get rid of it? All of these things are really nice to know. And Detroit is no different. There's actually a lot of things that you should know before moving here, but in this video, I'm gonna go over some common ones. So make sure you stick around to the end to see what all 5 of these are so we can help you avoid some rookie mistakes when moving to Detroit. And if you're new to me and new to my channel, my name's Eric. I'm a realtor with True Living Group, and I make these videos that are all things Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor. And if you are making that move, we wanna be the best resource for you. So make sure you reach out and we'd be happy to help. And now let's take a look at those 5 mistakes that you need to avoid when moving to Detroit, Michigan. So the first mistake I can help you avoid is really underestimating the size of the city here in Detroit. You know, when you compare it to a city like New York or Chicago, where taxi cabs and getting uptown, downtown are really kind of common, transportation is there and walkability is there, and Detroit is not quite there yet. Detroit is 142 square miles, and a very small portion of that makes up kind of the downtown area where Corktown, Midtown, Brush Park, Greektown, you know, the downtown central area is, and that's just a small portion of it. So if you live down there, you know, getting to and from places, whether you're Ubering, walking, yes, that is totally fine. But in terms of walkability throughout the rest of the city, you're going to need a car. And if you're getting anywhere in the Metro Detroit area, you are going to need a car. You really want to sit down and do some research on what the drive time is, how far away things are, what's around you, where's your grocery stores, where's the gym that you're going to be going to on a daily basis, where are the school systems at. Like, all those things need to come into play, right? And I've had a client, you know, just recently who was really set on Palmer Woods, and they started looking at drive times to some of the private schools, and they're like, okay, that could work. You know, when they got there and they actually spent some time here in Detroit, they said, nope, you know, that half-hour route that I mapped at 11 o'clock in the morning actually becomes 45 minutes during rush hour. So that's something you should really sit down and research. And of course, you know, this is something we'll discuss if you are reaching out to us and we're sitting down and getting a game plan, which you should, because we can help you avoid all of these things. So they've always said size does matter. You know, it really does. And when it comes to your living, you want to make sure you understand the distance between, you know, some of the places you're going to be living and frequenting on a regular basis. So I can't even keep a straight face on that. So all of those things, you know, will play a big role in picking out the right neighborhood, the right city, and having the right amenities, you know, close to you for that matter. All right, and next up, this is the big one. This is something that a lot of people are not prepared for when they move to Detroit, and this is the weather. Now, I'm not just talking about, you know, preparing by bringing gloves, a winter jacket, and having the right boots. Like, those are just bare essentials. You should have that, and if you don't have those packed or bought yet, make sure you go invest in a good pair of gloves, good boots, and a good, nice coat that's going to keep you warm in the winter. So bare essentials for that. Throw a hat in there, some earmuffs too, because your ears will get cold. The wind starts to blow, and it's just trust me, go buy a hat. But when it comes to actually prepping your home for the winter, and you're going to be coming here to Michigan, there's a laundry list of things that you're going to want to do to prep your home for winter. You know, taking your hoses off, the bibs outside, making sure you put a cover over them, or even shutting the water off, you know, to them so that pipes don't freeze. Next is buying a snow shovel or a snow blower. You know, so if we get dumped on, we get a whole bunch of snow and you are not prepared for it to dig yourself out or shovel your driveway or your sidewalks, it's going to be pretty hard getting out of there. And trust me, once you get the tire tracks on the driveway and then it snows again, you get a little bit of freezing over the night because it gets colder and that starts getting compacted, that's going to be pretty hard to get off your driveway. So you want to make sure you have all that stuff before winter. Make sure you're prepared and just do it the right way. I made the mistake this year and this is, you know, even myself, I've been here, 38 years, and the weather just changes. You know, the weather just changes really quickly. Like, we barely had a fall. So all the leaves were falling and my gutters were full. And it was like every single weekend I was like, all right, I'm going to get to it. I'll get to it. And then all of a sudden the temperature just drops. Okay. It snows one day and it's kind of rainy the next day. So the gutters fill up with snow, slush, and they are absolutely frozen. So when I went to put the Christmas lights up this year, I got up there and I'm like, I wonder if I can get these out. So I was literally chipping in my gutters, getting these ice chunks out. So I got all that ice out, so I didn't drag my gutters down. And then when the ice needs to melt, the leaves are going to be blocking it. So it's just a mess, right? You want to get all the leaves out of your gutters, all of the ice out of there, make sure you got a good flow. So even myself, see, I make those mistakes, and I want to help you avoid making those same mistakes. And the next common mistake that I see a lot of folks make is thinking you won't need a car. Now, it is possible. Okay, and I'm not going to rule it out completely, because it is possible to live in the city and not have a car. The stars have to align perfectly. You got to find a place that's really kind of close to where you're working, and everything's kind of contained within, the walking distance. Like I said before, the proximity to all the things that you're going to be doing on a daily basis, restaurants, gym, school systems, wherever. So that is possible, but the large majority of people don't have that luxury. Okay, where they want to live versus where they're going to be working or frequently going on a daily basis, or the lifestyle that you want. So you just really need to look at that. But a majority of people, and I'm talking like in the 90th percentile, maybe even like 95% of people, they have cars here. And this next common mistake is really going to hit your wallet. So make sure you pay attention to this one, because if you're moving to Detroit, you got to know about these hidden costs. And these hidden costs really sneak up on you. It's not something that you're going to see right away and you're like, oh, that's totally fine. I'm signing up for that. These are kind of those things that you get into living in Detroit, and then the tax bill comes, and then you do your taxes at the end of the year for your income, and you're like, what's happening right now? Like, where did all this money go? And the two things that you need to be aware of are the property taxes. Property taxes in Detroit are some of the highest here in the state of Michigan. And it's 2.4% on average for property taxes in Detroit. Now, when you look at that, 2.4% might sound great, but there's cities that average 1.63% or 1.7% in taxes, here in Michigan. So it's definitely higher than the average. With Detroit specifically, there's a lot of these NEZ, and you've heard me talk about some of these on previous videos. The NEZ is a tax abatement program where you can have lower taxes for the next 15 years. It's part of the city's goal to get people living down there and making it affordable. But you want to pay special attention, to some of the areas that don't have those NEZs, and just make sure you know what the taxes are. What you see on the taxes right now could be capped taxes. Okay, so once you live there for a period of time, you have a cap on how much your property taxes can go up each year. And once that property sells to you specifically, the next year that's going to be uncapped. So if that was a lower tax rate, it could jump up. So just keep that in mind and make sure you do your due diligence on the property taxes. And that's something I'll go over with you and make sure you actually know. I do this with all my clients, is I actually go over the property taxes and we estimate them out as to what they're going to be when they're uncapped and you take over that property. Now, the next one you need to know about is a city income tax. Now, this is not something common that's in Michigan, but Detroit definitely has a city income tax, and that is 1.2%. Now, 1.2% of your income is going to be taxed to the city. Okay. So if you don't want that to happen, maybe Detroit is not the city you want to live in. And on top of that, we have a state income tax. So when you look at the state income tax of 4.05% plus the 1.2% that you have in the city of Detroit, now you have a 5.25%. So, money's just flying out the door, when you're living in Detroit. So make sure you just plan on that. Those are the hidden costs that will really sneak up on you after a full year has gone by and you're like, oh, holy crap, the new tax bill here. I have our income taxes, which now I didn't really plan for. This is all new to me, right? So you can come back to this video and say, thank you, Eric. Thank you for helping us budget appropriately and maybe avoid some of these money grabs from the city that I can just go live in another city. Neighboring cities like Royal Oak, Ann Arbor, Birmingham, Novi, Northville, they don't have a city income tax. So there are alternatives. It's not all cities here in Michigan. So just make sure you're aware of that. And the final mistake, this one's also going to hit your wallet, so you don't want to miss this one. And it's misjudging the housing market. Now, I see this time and time again. And Detroit has this reputation for having affordable homes or low-cost homes that somebody can come in, buy a home for $100,000. They might be able to fix it up, and now they have a $300,000-$400,000 home at the end of the day. Now, that does exist, and that's really getting into the investment side of this. If you're looking for a home for you and your family, or maybe you're a young professional moving into the city and you don't have time for all that. You're like, I'm not swinging a hammer. I'm not Joanna Gaines or Chip Gaines. Like, I'm not doing this fix and flip, type stuff. I just want my place and I want to live in it. You're going to be paying a premium for that. So it depends on really what you're looking for in your lifestyle. This is something we'll sit down and kind of work through, is like, what are those goals for you? Do you have a certain location? Are you just drawn to a certain part of the city? Or are you looking for something more within a budget? So when it comes to housing, there's so many pitfalls and things that I could go into. We talked about taxes. We talked about all those things, previously. But the best thing to do is just reach out, right? Reach out and, we'll sit down, talk about exactly what it is you're looking for. And I'll tell you straight up, like, if your budget and the location and you're kind of dreaming pie in the sky, like, hey, I want to come into Detroit and I want this awesome loft and I want to be right in the city for like $100,000, going to tell you, it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough, and probably not going to happen. So let's realign expectations with realistic goals. And of course, there are tons more things that we could go over on things to avoid when moving to Detroit, but these are the 5 major ones that I see time and time again. They're always coming up in conversation. These are the questions that you guys are asking on Zoom. So I want to make sure if you're thinking about moving to Detroit, you know about these, you're aware of them, and you don't make these common mistakes, or what I like to call just kind of rookie mistakes. Do your research, and better yet, reach out to me, whether you're moving in 1 month or 1 year from now, and we want to be the best resource for you. So make sure you get a hold of us and go check out these other videos to learn more about living in Michigan, and I will catch you on the next one.